What's going on, guys? T-Mark here, and today I'm super excited to bring you guys an unboxing slash review of my brand new Scuf hybrid controller. So this thing is kind of like the Scuf Mark II or the version 2. It's the upgraded version. It's got a bunch of new features over the original Scuf, and I kind of want to walk some of you guys through those because these things were actually just announced a couple of days ago, and I got one of the very first ones off the line. I was lucky enough to get one, so I want to give you guys a first look, show you guys some of the new features, and let you decide if you like it or not, or if it's something you might be interested in. I'm not sure, but I wanted to make sure you guys saw it here first. So let's get into it. Now, first and foremost, if you guys don't know about Scuf in general and you know what they do and some of their primary features, I would probably go watch my original Scuf review that I put up a couple of months ago. I'll link that on screen and down the description. And watch that first, then come back here. In this video, we're just going to be talking about the improvements of the Scuf hybrid over the original Scuf. So let's get into it. Now, the first improvement and the biggest improvement, the first one you'll notice, is the fact that on the back, you can now have up to 4 paddles. Yes, that's right. So you can choose if you want 2, 3, or 4, and you can, put them on and take them off via like the Scuf tool key that comes with the controller. But anyway, yeah, you can have up to 4, which is a huge improvement. I mean, on the old Scuf, you could only have 2, so you could only have like A and B or X and circle. But now you can literally have all of your face buttons, A, B, X, and Y, on the back of your controller, so you literally never have to take your thumbs off the thumbsticks unless you want to press the D-pad or something like that. So that's definitely a huge improvement. Let's check it out in action here. On my left to right or your right to left, this far outside one, I've got map to A, inside of that, Y, next to that, X, and then finally on the far right or your far left, B. So as you can see, again, I have all of my face buttons on the controller mapped to the back. I literally never have to take my thumbs off the thumbsticks, so I can jump around corners while aiming, I can knife while aiming, I can reload while jumping around corners while, it's insane what you can do with this. So that's pretty cool. Now, next up, the next improvement is the fact that the 2 outside paddles on the back of the controller are actually remappable. You can change them from A to B to X to Y to the left thumbstick, pressing it down, to left bumper to right bumper, and then to back. So you can change it to whatever combination you want. Check this out right here. Right now, when I press this paddle, I knife. So it's currently mapped to the B button. If I want to change that and I want to have it press the back button so I can check out the scoreboard, then what we're going to do is hold the remap button up at the top of the controller, then press the back button and hold that, and then tap that back paddle, and voila, now it presses the back button when I click that paddle. So the 2 outside ones you can change to anything you want. That's really good for switching games. Maybe some games don't use A and B as much as Call of Duty does, so you can change those to whatever, setup you want, which is very, very cool. Now, moving on to the next improvement, they've actually included a lithium-ion battery in the wireless versions of the Scuf hybrid, and this is probably my favorite improvement because that gets rid of the big bulky battery pack that's on the back. Usually with wireless Xbox controllers, you've got that big thing that your fingers cramp up on and they press against the walls, and I didn't like that. It gave me hand cramps for extended periods of playtime. So now with this new one with the lithium-ion battery in it, there's no big bulky thing on the back. You can stretch your fingers out, you can grab a good grip of that controller, and it works really well. And then you just plug it in via micro USB, and it's got a little indicator light that's red when it's charging and green when it's done charging. So super simple, but very effective. Now, next up, the next improvement is the fact that they actually changed the shape of the back of the controller. So the whole back housing of the controller is Scuf's own design put onto the front of a regular Xbox controller. And it's really, really cool because they actually added, it's hard to explain. It's like a sharper angle and a higher angle to the legs of the controller, right where you see in these pictures. It's hard to see in the pictures, but it makes it so that your fingers lay more flat against the paddles. It's not like they're curling around the controller. They're just kind of resting on the paddles, and it's much, much, much more comfortable than really any other controller that I've held, whether that be like an original Microsoft controller or an original Scuf controller or like a Mad Catz controller or something like that. It feels a lot more natural, and the controller kind of rests in your hands, and I don't know, it feels better. It doesn't feel like you're trying to claw your way around it if you have long fingers like me. So anyway, moving on, the final major improvement that they've done to this thing, and this is something that I never really had any problems with, but apparently some people with their old Scufs, they would accidentally break off paddles by pressing them sideways a little bit. So now they kind of made the paddles go back into the controller. You can see it really well in this picture right here. So these paddles are basically indestructible. I mean, they're almost impossible to break, which is obviously a good thing. If you're going to be spending a lot of money on a controller, then you want to make sure that you won't have any problems with it. it. So that is the brand new Scuf hybrid controller. Again, just a quick little recap. You can now have up to 4 paddles on the back, which is huge. You can remap the 2 outside paddles to pretty much any button you want to. There's a lithium-ion battery in the wireless version, so you no longer have that big bulky battery pack. They've redesigned the handles of the controller that really make it feel a lot better. And then finally, you've got reinforced paddles that make sure that your paddles won't break. That's the new controller. It's pretty freaking awesome. You know, I've been playing with it for about 24 to 48 hours now, and I'm really enjoying it. I love my Scuf, but this thing is way better than the original Scuf, and you know, any Scuf is way better than any original controller, so it's definitely a good thing. Now, I mainly talked about positive things in this review. I definitely want to give you guys, you know, straight up some of the negatives. One of the biggest negatives that a lot of people are going to see is the price. So I think these things start at about $80. I think that's the cheapest one you can get, and I think that's just a regular wired black one, and then they go up in price. I think most of the options you have to choose from are around the $120 range. That's where you can get like Team Envious, Team Optic, special designs, you know, wireless, remappable buttons, things like that. Like it's definitely not cheap. You know, that's a lot of money to spend on a controller. But if you think about it, if you play a lot of video games, if you play a lot of Call of Duty or a lot of any other first-person shooter, this is really a pretty good investment. I mean, again, like I did in my first review, think about the time that you play and then divide that by the price. And really, you're not paying a very high per hour dollar. So it is expensive, I'm not going to lie, but it's worth it. If you play a lot of video games, you get a lot of use out of it, and it will definitely make you a better player. So it's totally up to the individual on that and your financial situation and things like that. But yeah, that's one of the negatives. The other major negative that I've seen, it's not really a negative, I mean, it can be avoided, but it's that with the trigger stops, you know, if they're set perfectly for Call of Duty where you can fire off your SMR all day really quickly, it might not be set right for a different game like Gears of War or Uncharted or Resident Evil or something like that. You know, the trigger stop may stop the trigger from pushing down all the way to where you won't fire in different games, and you can adjust them, like they are adjustable, but it is a little bit tedious. So if you're planning on buying this to play a lot of different games, I would probably suggest not getting the trigger stops. You know, I really only get the trigger stops if you plan on mostly playing one game or you want to have a controller dedicated to one game, because otherwise they might get a little bit tedious. But yeah, it's just, yeah, that's your opinion. It's not really a negative. It's just, it's something you have to make a choice on. But anyway, there you have it, guys. Hope you all enjoyed my review. I hope you found it honest and insightful and helpful. I really try to keep these things honest, although I am sponsored by them. I'm not getting paid for this video, and I would never steer you guys in the wrong direction. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you do decide that you do want to pick one of these things up, I can get you 5% off with my coupon code. Just type in TMartin, TMARTN, when you're checking out. It'll get you 5% off, and it'll save you a few bucks. So that's always a good thing. And yeah, so hope you all enjoyed. I got a bunch of great videos coming soon. Check out one of the other 2 videos on the screen if you haven't seen them yet. We'll catch you all later. Peace out.